Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back with me, Miss Ira, in the presentation of language assessment principles and classroom practices. Alright, today we are going to discuss about chapter 3 entitled Design Classroom Language Test. Designing Classroom Language Test. Okay. These are the table of contents. The first is test types. The second is some practical steps to test constructions. And the third is scoring, grading, and giving feedback. All right. The first is test types. These are kind of test types. The first is language aptitude test. The second is proficiency test. And the third is placement test. And the fourth is diagnostic test. And then the last is achievement test. Okay, let's explain one by one. All right, language aptitude test is designed to measure capacity or general ability to learn a foreign language and ultimate success in the undertaking. All right, language aptitude tests are ostensibly designed to apply the classroom learning of any language. And then two standardized aptitude tests have been used in the USA. The Modern Language Aptitude Test, or MLAT, and then Pimsleur Language Aptitude Battery, or PLAB, and then both are English language tests and require students to perform a number of language-related tasks. All right, next. Task in the Modern Language Aptitude Test. Okay, the first is number learning. Examinees must learn a set of numbers through oral input and then discriminate different combination of those numbers. The second is phonetic scripts. Examinees must learn a set of correspondences between speech sounds and phonetic symbols, and then spelling clues. Examinees must read that are spelled somewhat phonetically, and then select from a list the one word whose meaning is closest to the discussed word. And then the fourth is word in sentences. Examinees are given a keyword in a sentence and are then asked to select a word in a second sentence that performs the same grammatical functions as the keyword. All right, and the last is paired associates. Examinees must quickly learn a set of vocabulary words from another language and memorize their English meaning. And then proficiency tests. A proficiency test is not limited to any one course, yeah. Curriculum or single skill in the language, rather it tests overall ability. Proficiency tests have traditional consisted of standardized multiple choice items on grammar, vocabulary, reading comprehension, and oral comprehension. Proficiency tests are almost or always summative and norm-referenced. Okay? Let me repeat. Proficiency tests are almost always summative and norm-referenced. A typical example of standardized proficiency test is the test of English as a foreign language, or TOEFL, produced by the Educational Testing Service. Key issue in the testing proficiency is how two constructs of language ability are specified. And then what is placement test? All right, certain proficiency tests can act in the role of placement test. The purpose of which is to place a student into a particular level or section of a language curriculum or school. A placement test usually, but not always. A placement test usually, but not always, includes a sampling of material to be covered in the various courses in curriculum. And then placement tests come in many varieties. For example, assessing comprehension and production, responding through written or oral performance, and then open-ended and limited responses, and then selection, for example, multiple choice, yeah, and then kept filling formats and depending on the nature of programs and it's needed. Next, what is diagnostic test? A diagnostic test is designed to diagnose specified aspects of a language. A test in pronunciation, for example, might diagnose the phonological features of English that are difficult for learners and should therefore become part of curriculum. And then diagnostic tests should elicit information on what students need to work in the future. For example, diagnostic tests might offer information about a learner's acquisition of verb tenses, and then modal auxiliaries, definite articles, relative clauses, and the like. A typical diagnostic test of oral production was created by Clifford Carter in 1972 to accompany a manual of English pronunciation. Next, achievement test. An achievement test is related directly to classroom lessons, units, or even to a total curriculum. Achievement tests are or should be limited to practical material addressed in a curriculum within a particular time frame and are over after a course has focused on the objective in question. Achievement tests are often summative because they are administered at the end of a unit or term of study. And then the specification for an achievement test should be determined by 1, the objective of the lessons, unit, or course being assessed. The second is the relative importance or weight assigned to each objective. The third is the task employed in classroom lessons during the unit time. And then the fourth is practically issues such as the time frame for the test and turnaround time. And then the last is the extended to which the task structure lend itself formative wash back. All right. And then the second subchapter is some practical steps to the task construction, okay? The first subchapter is test type, yeah? I explained a lot of test types, and then the second subchapter is some practical steps to task constructions. Okay, practical steps to task construction. The first step is assessing clear and then unambiguous objectives. And then the second is drawing up task specification. The third is devising test task. And then the last is designing multiple choice test items. All right, assessing clear and ambiguous objectives. Okay, specify what is you want to test. Okay, in this step, we should specify what is we want to test. Okay, it's called objective, yeah. And then objectives are stated in terms of overt performance by students. And then selected objective for a unit in a low, intermediate, integrated skill course. Then form focus objective, listening and speaking, yeah. Student will recognize and produce tag question with the correct grammatical form and final intonation pattern in simple social conversation. And then for communicative skills or speaking, student will state complete action and even in a social conversation. And then for reading skills, simple, easy, or story, student will recognize irregular past tense of selected verbs in a story or essay. And then for writing skill, simple essay or story, student will write one paragraph story about simple event in the past and then use conjunction so and because in a statement of opinion. Okay, next is drawing up task specification. Speaking, 5 minutes per person and then previous days. Format, and then the format is Oral interview, T and S, and the task is T ask question of S, objective 3, and then emphasize on 6. Okay, and then listening 10 minutes. The format is here, yeah. T mix auditive in advance with one other voice on it, blah blah blah. Okay, and then reading 10 minutes. Format closed test items. Total question is 10, and then in a storyline, and then task fill in the blank, and then task is fill in the blank, and then writing 10 minutes from for topic 1. Okay, for the further information, you can read this book, yeah? You can read this book. Language Assessment by H. Douglas Brown, all right. And then devising test taker, devising test task. Oral interview format. The first is warm-up, question and comments. The P is level check question. And then C, probe. What is your opinion about blah, blah, blah? Okay, it can be news item, yeah? And how do you feel about another news event? And then win, down, comment, and reassurance. Okay, next. Test item or first draft. Listening part A, sample item, direction. Okay, we often listen this direction in the listening test. Maybe if you have done your what is it, TOEFL test. Okay, you ever hear this? Yeah. Direction, listen to the sentence on the, choose the sentence on your test page that is closest in the meaning of the sentence you heard. Okay, listening part B, direction, listen to the question, choose the sentence on your test page that is best answer to the question. All right. This example for listening, yeah, in part A and part B. Okay, next. Then reading, this is sample items. The direction is fill the correct tense of the verb, blah, blah, blah. Then in the middle of this loud party, they hear the loudest thunder you have ever heard. And then right away, lightning strike, blah, 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 right outside their house. All right. So should fill in the blank, yeah? And then writing, write a paragraph about what you like or didn't like about one the character at the party in the TV or sitcom we saw. And next, designing multiple choice test item. Okay, multiple choice items are all receptive or selective response item in the test taker chooses from a set of response, okay, rather than creating a response. Other receptive items types include true, false question, and matching list. Okay, every multiple choice item has a stem, okay, which present a stimulus and several, usually between 3 and 5 options or alternative to choose from. All right, and then the third is one of those options. The key is the correct response, what the others serve as distractors, okay? And then design each item to measure a specific objective. Multiple choice item revised. And the voice is, where did George go after the party last night? As reads, A, yes, he did. P, because he was tired. C, to Elaine's place for another party. T, around 11 o'clock. Okay, what's the answer? Where did, where? Okay, so the answer is to Elaine's place for another party. And then multiple choice item float. Excuse me, do you know SS? And then the option is, where is the post office, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Next, 2, state both term and option as simply and directly as possible. Okay, multiple choice close item float. Okay, my eyesight has really been darkening lately. wonder if I need glasses. I think I'd better go to the blah 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 to have my eyes checked. Okay. What's the answer? A, pediatrician, dermatologist, or optometrist. Okay, which one is the close answer with the question, yeah? And then we went to visit the temples, blah, 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 fascinating. Okay, which were beautiful, which were holy, right. And then next, number 3, make certain that the intended is clearly the only correct. Why did George go to the party last night? A, yes he did. B, because he was tired. C, to Ellen's place for another party. He went home around 11 o'clock. Okay. You know what's the answer? All right, I know that you know. And then number 4, use item indicates to accept, discard, or revise items. Okay, the appropriate selection and arrangement of suitable multiple choice item on a task can be best accomplished by measuring items against 3 indicates as follows. A, item facility or EF. B, item discrimination or ID. C, distracts efficiency. Yeah. Distract efficiency, yeah. And then next, A, item facility. Item facility is extent to which an item easy or difficult or to proposed group of the sticker. This is the formula, yeah. The category is difficult, medium, and easy. For example, there are 50 students who answer an item X. 30 of whom can answer the item correctly, determine the level of difficulty of item X. All right. And then item discrimination or ID, these are the formula. For example, the category is bad enough, good, excellent. For example, 30 students are divided into 2 groups, 15 students who in the lower group and 15 others in the higher group. In the higher group, there are 12 students who answer item X correctly, whereas in the lower group, only 5 students who answer item X correctly. Determine the item discrimination of item X. And then this C, the structure efficiency or TA. TA is the extent to which 1, the distractor there, a sufficient number of tasks taken, especially lower ability ones. And then those responses are somewhat even distributed across all distractors. For example, high ability, low ability, and then is the correct response. A, B, C, D, E. All right, and then effective distraction, many students choose it, yeah? And then number 3 is scoring, grading, and giving feedback. Scoring, grading, and giving feedback. Scoring. The scoring plan reflects the relative weight that teacher places on each section and item in each section. For example, oral interview, listening, reading, writing. Okay, and then percent of total grade in percent, yeah? And then possible total correct. Okay, we write down the possible total correct here. And then grading. How we assign letter to this test is a product of the country, culture, and context of this English classroom. And then institutional expectation, most of them unwritten, yeah. And then explicit and implicit definitions of grades, that we have set forth. The relationship we have established with this class and students' expectation that you have engendered in previous tests and quizzes in this class. All right. And the last is feedback. 1, a letter grade. 2, a total score. 3, 4 sub-score, speaking, listening, reading, writing. The 44th listening, reading section. A, an indication of correct and incorrect responses, and then marginal comments for the oral interview, scores for each element being read, and then checklist for areas needing work, blah, blah, blah. Okay, number 6, on the essay, score for each element being read, and then a checklist of areas needing work, and then C, marginal and end of essay, and then comment suggestion. Okay, and 7, on all or selected arts of the test, peer checking of result, and then 8, a whole class discussion of a result of test, and then the last is 9, individual conference, each student to review the work, the answer test. Okay. Okay, that's all for from chapter 3. I hope that you can understand, yeah, a little bit about this chapter, and please don't forget to read the book for the further information. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and then see you on the next video. Bye bye. I'm Miss Ira. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.